On January 2015, something unexpected occurred on a remote stretch of Highway 183 about 30 miles north of San Angelo, Texas. In the middle of this quiet highway, a bridge collapsed after being struck by a deer, leaving behind a hefty price tag for taxpayers. But this wasn't just a simple accident. It uncovered a series of underlying issues that had been ignored for years. So what caused this bridge to fail? And why did the deer survive unscathed? Before we get started, be sure to hit that like button for more great videos. Long before the sun rose over that quiet stretch of highway in rural Texas, a lone deer stepped through the trees, unaware that its restless search for food would make history. The temperature was hovering around freezing and a dense fog blanketed the area, muffling sound and obscuring vision. The deer's breath formed small clouds in the frigid air as it ventured closer to the highway. Drawn by the smell of salt they sprinkled on the roads to melt the ice. It was a common sight in these parts. Farmers and truckers would often toss salt or sand from their trucks onto the pavement to help keep the roads drivable during the harsh Texas winters. For the deer, it was an unexpected treat, a burst of flavor in the monotonous landscape. Nobody driving that night imagined anything more than a cold crossing over a bridge they trusted with their lives. Yet, when nature and concrete met in the darkness, the balance of power shifted in an instant. This bridge had stood for nearly 3 decades, a vital passage linking a farming communities divided by a deep river. It had been built to withstand the wrath of Texas thunderstorms and the daily grind of heavy trucks, hauling endless supplies to the nearby ranches and farms. Its concrete pillars had weathered time with silent pride, watching seasons turn and fade like the changing guard of an eternal post. But this night, the bridge was about to face a challenge it hadn't prepared for. Beneath the bridge, the river moved slow and wide, brushing against its supports like a gentle warning that water can be patient when steel forgets how to hold its weight. That deer had no idea it was about to become part of a story that would be told and riddled around these parts for years to come. It was just a young buck trying to find a bite to eat before the sun came up. As the deer approached, a massive freight truck rumbled over the bridge, its headlights piercing the fog like the eyes of a predator. The driver, a seasoned man named Billy Joe, had made this route countless times. He knew every pothole and every bump in the road, every curve and every rise. But tonight, the fog was thicker than usual, and the darkness seemed to have a life of its own. At first, he hadn't seen the deer. It had blended into the shadows cast by the trees on the side of the road. Then, in a split second, it stepped into the faint glow of his headlights. He slammed on the brakes, but it was too late. The deer bolted across the bridge, its hooves slipping on the icy deck. Billy Joe swerved, his massive weight shifting at the worst possible angle. There was a loud bang, like the roar of a cannon, followed by the sickening sound of metal screaming in agony. The impact had been enough to buckle the bridge's guardrail, sending vibrations racing through the old concrete joints. Hidden cracks woke from their slumber, and under the weight, the structure groaned like an old man shifting in his sleep. The deer disappeared into the darkness, vanishing back into the maze of trees from where it had come. Billy Joe, shaken but unharmed, crawled out of the wreckage of his truck, his heart pounding against his ribs like a trapped bird. He watched in disbelief as the rest of the bridge gave way, crashing down into the freezing river with a deafening crash that startled the sleeping houses miles away. The bridge had been a lifeline for the people living in the area. It had been the fastest way to get from one side of the river to the other since 1986, when it was built. Now it was gone. In its place was a jumbled mess of twisted steel and broken asphalt, along with a repair bill that would drain nearly $5 million from the county's already exhausted budget. The news of the bridge's collapse spread like wildfire through the tight-knit community. People gathered at the site, staring at the gaping hole where the bridge once stood. They talked in hushed tones, trying to piece together what could have caused such a disaster. Some blamed the storm, others the age of the bridge. Little did they know that the answer lay in a series of tiny flaws that had been ignored for years. The collapse of the bridge was a mystery that puzzled engineers for weeks. They examined the twisted metal and debris, trying to figure out what had gone wrong. Finally, they uncovered the truth. The bridge had been suffering from rust and poor drainage, and several minor flaws that had been overlooked for years. These problems had weakened the structure, making it more susceptible to collapse. As it turned out, the deer's impact had been the straw that broke the camel's back. It was a tragic accident, but one that could have been avoided if routine maintenance had been carried out. The deer, oblivious to the havoc it had wreaked, had long since vanished into the woods. It emerged from the trees again a few days later, looking for more salt. When it reached the road, it found a new treat, a pile of fresh hay that someone had left there for farm animals. The deer ate its fill, feeling the warmth of the hay fiber spreading through its body like a comforting blanket. It was a lucky break for the animal. Meanwhile, the people were busy picking up the pieces. They cleared away the debris and began the long process of rebuilding the bridge. It took months to complete, but finally in June 2015, the new and improved bridge opened to the public. It was stronger and more resilient than before. The story of the bridge soon became local lore, a cautionary tale about the dangers of complacency and the importance of regular maintenance. At the same time, it was also a testament to the enduring spirit of the community and its ability to overcome even the most challenging obstacles. Over the years, people would gather at the site of the bridge collapse, sharing stories and remembering the day when a deer had brought an entire community to its knees. But for the most part, the incident faded into memory, leaving behind only a stronger bridge and a deeper sense of community pride. In the end, it was a story of resilience, of how even in the face of tragedy, life goes on and communities not only survive, but thrive. The collapse of the bridge wasn't just a physical event. It was a wake-up call for the entire community. It forced them to confront the fragility of their infrastructure and the importance of regular maintenance. It was a reminder that even the most solid structures are not immune to the relentless march of time. In a way, the deer was a catalyst for change, a small creature whose actions had far-reaching consequences. It had inadvertently revealed the weak spots in their infrastructure, forcing them to address issues that had been ignored for years. Maybe in some small way, the deer had done them a favor. But perhaps the most important lesson the bridge collapse taught was the value of community. In the aftermath of the disaster, the community had come together to clear the debris and rebuild. They had supported each other through a difficult time and emerged even stronger than before. The bridge wasn't just a physical connection between the parts of the community. It was a symbol of their unity, their ability to come together in the face of adversity and rebuild what had been lost. So when you drive across that bridge today, take a moment to appreciate the hard work and dedication that went into its construction and the lessons it taught them all. Remember the day a deer brought a community to its knees and how they rose from the ashes, stronger than ever before. And if you're like me, you'll also wonder what other crazy things nature has thrown our way. Do you know any wild animal stories that happened right in your town? Let us know in the comments below. We might even feature some of the best ones in future videos. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button for more great content. Thanks for watching. I hope you learned something new and maybe even had a little fun along the way. If you did, please consider subscribing so you never miss an upload. We've got plenty more videos coming your way, and we'd love to have you along for the ride. Now, if you're still hungry for knowledge, be sure to check out other videos. You never know what fascinating facts you might discover. Until next time, keep learning, keep exploring, and keep asking questions. Who knows? You might just discover something amazing.